And I will share my screen. The last one, which is handy. Cool. So can everybody, well, everyone can unfortunately see me, but can you see the slides and hear my voice? Yeah?
Yep.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, cool. So let's get started because we have got loads to cover tonight. So with a lot of the stuff, I will briefly run through it, but do feel free to take screenshots tonight, okay, as well as write down because we got so much information, we will go through, quite a lot. So just go through your photos and stuff at the end and take notes as you go. Okay. So as we know, so this one's open to senior consultants and above who have applied and followed the guidelines to join in on our 500 Club. Okay. So if life is worth living, it's worth recording. So as I said, take notes, take photos. With this, we're wanting you to get as much value as possible. So make sure that you're really present in the moment and taking it all in, okay? Also, you can raise your hand or mute or unmute yourself. If it does get a little bit noisy, I may just mute everyone. And if you have got the ability to unmute yourself, do so. Otherwise, just let me know. Just send a message to the group and we will get you sorted. And also we will do a question and answer at the end, but I'm so happy for it to be interactive and for you guys just to yell out or ask questions along the way. Don't feel like, you have to wait. If there is something on that screen or whatever, then I'm happy for you to ask me as we go as well. Okie doke. So welcome to week 2. So first of all, we want to hear from you guys, okay? So, part of the 500 Club, we've got the training itself, but also the homework that's really important as well. So Joanna would have emailed everyone the homework, which was quite simple for this week actually, and it should be something that everybody does on a regular basis anyway. So if anybody wants to unmute and share yourself, so the homework was the setting up of the month, and also it was the booking in for the STS. And Joe had sent out the Get 20, Keep 20 gauge sheet, the customer, like the, what's it called, the 5K club sheet, and then also told us to book in for the STS. So if anybody's started implementing those things, or if you do use them, how you use them and how it helps you, just we want to get some sharing as to how it helps everyone in their business. So if anyone can unmute, otherwise I'll start to unmute you myself. But if anyone would love to volunteer, I'd love that. Okay. Who have I unmuted?
You've got me.
Yes. Awesome. Do you want to share so far, what you've implemented since week 1, what homework you've done, maybe what you've done to set up the month, what you're doing this month for what you've planned ahead?
Yes. So with the homework, I use the gauges on a regular basis. So that's I keep 20. I Get 20, Keep 20 is always one that I update with my new retail clients and also my new my VIP members for the month. Mm-hmm. So that helps me to stay on track and to see if I'm on track to reach my goals.
Yeah.
And so from the last week webinar, I found the way you explain everything was really good to actually plan. Actually to see how to reach the goals and how to plan things with 5 clients and 2 coach per month. So that was really good.
Yeah. And as well, because it's physically there in front of you, like, do you actually print it out and have it written down?
Yeah, I wrote it down on my journal, and I found it's really amazing because even if you know as a principle how you should work, seeing the numbers really, I don't know, click something in your head and you see, oh yes, that's absolutely possible, and that's not that difficult.
Yeah. So some people will have it in like a digital form, but for me, I love having it as a piece of paper and literally writing it in as we go. I find that then, like you said, because you can actually see it without even thinking about it, it kind of challenges you to fill in the rest of the circles. Hey. And I guess as well, like the good thing is you can see where you were from, last month. If you had a great month last month, you could say, all right, well, last month I already had 10 customers by this time and I'm only at 5, so I'm behind. And you can really gauge where you need to be doing, like what you need to be doing activity-wise. Hey, so love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll grab one more person to share here, and we have got some other places through the call. I might get you to share if you don't mind, Peter.
That's fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
How are you, Stacey?
I'm so good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
That's good.
So I just found printing off the sheets and writing down when I'd got a new customer and breaking it down to the volume points and the profit. Just seeing those numbers just sort of inspired me to actually work at my job on a daily basis. So, it's driving me to actually talk to people with a bit more intent rather than just sort of brushing over things. So, I'm having daily conversations and just generating more conversations that are then leading to Herbalife conversations, and also going back over people that had been no's earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And just seeing where they are in their journey, whether the timing's right now, whether they're looking for something, whether they've reached their wellness goals that they had discussed earlier in the year. So just following up on old leads, and I've actually got a few people that after Christmas they actually want to look at it seriously from both the business side and the product side. So following up is a difficult part of mine. I can talk, but the actual following up I struggle with.
Awesome. So you found that this is a bit better for you following up. And if you don't mind, would you be able to share with the guys, like you said that you've been going through people that you have had conversations with that have said, no or not now, recently. How have you actually tracked those people? Have you been writing their names down on like the tracking sheet as you go, or how do you actually gauge that?
I've been going back over like old notebooks that I used to list everything in methodically, and whether or not they were yes, no's, maybes. So very definite no's. I've not actually gone back. I might just strike up a conversation with and see how their year's been, and nothing Herbie with it. But others, I've just said, now is the best time of the year to look at it if you're interested in setting health goals or business goals, being Christmas, getting that out the way, and that's when everyone's wanting to make changes. Everyone has their resolutions and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Is it something that you're wanting to look at now? And that's where I've actually had a few people saying, well, hey, I am interested now. And so I've had a few people that I've said, if I was to send you a video link or a copy of a video, do you think you would watch it? And just going through that, them finding out what they like the best out of it. And so it's been really good, just actually putting myself out there and getting out of my comfort zone and going back over.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. And you've really hit the nail on the head too, like following up with them now, knowing that they're going to have those New Year's resolutions and knowing that it's coming up to Christmas and everything like that. So I find that that's also key as you're getting in now, which we spoke about last week as well, didn't we? Is actually, not leaving it too late. So that's perfect. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, girls. We shall get into it. I'm so glad Indy just left without me even saying anything, because that was super handy. Hang on, I think someone may be chatting to us. And Joe saying, and Peter owns and runs a motel by herself. So, yes, this is extra on top. So she's doing super well. So well done, Peter. Awesome. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to brief over what we're going to cover this week. So what we're going to be going over is what is your job in Herbalife, retailing, so how to close a sale, how to set up a client, recruiting, what to do to set them up, so what are the 3 R's, how to build a stable 10,000 volume point and consistently never drop that. And everyone this month can hit 5,000 volume points. So we're going to show you how you can do that through slowly building. And also just go through the homework handouts and questions and answers at the end. Okay. So your job is to get new customers every month. Your job is to get new distributors every month. And your job is to use the products to become an expert on using the products and shop from your own store. Okay, so those 3 things are obviously key to building a business and also building a sustainable business. Okay, so every month is highlighted there because there's no point in getting a whole bunch of new customers every now and again. The thing there is the consistency. Okay, so that's one thing that you need to be focusing on every month. Okay, and yeah, as we said last week, your job is to use the products and become an expert on using them. For you to have the best product result, but also for you to have stories to share, and for anybody to ask you what it is that you're doing, you'll be able to say, these are the things that I'm on. Okay, so just remember, how can you build a business without goals? So one of them is that you need to do constant volume every month. 2,500 volume points is a goal for the beginning and not like an end goal. Okay, so that's your minimum that you want to be setting as a goal. So don't just do the 2,500. You know, think about adding in things every month. Okay, so it's a beginning start volume, not what you should aspire to. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 10,000 volume point presentation. Okay, so this is 0 to 10,000 volume points, and I'm also going to share with you guys just some of my volume initially, so from starting from not much volume at all to how it can sort of turn around within sort of 6 to 12 months, so that you can see, you know, where you may be now, you know, under 2,500 volume points maybe, to actually build that to become quite a substantial business. Okay, so we pretty much have said that before. So if life's worth living, it's worth recording, so take the notes with it. So just basically we'll be sharing like what I do and how I did it. And not saying that the way that I've done anything is the right or wrong way. And it's just basically my experience and what has worked for me. So if you do see anything that you are, you know, wanting to incorporate, feel free to add that in or incorporate it into what you're doing. But remember, we don't swing the pendulum, which means we don't sort of drop everything that you've been doing and start this new thing, because it's all about consistency. Yeah, so if you're wanting to add anything in, then feel free to, but yeah, maintain what you're currently doing as well. So this is my volume back in 2013. So you'll see there, if you have a look almost down the middle, it says personal volume. Okay, so you got January, I did 2,685, February 1,200, March getting up into the almost 3,000. Okay, so around these times is when we sort of made the decision to change. Jo had realized that, you know, she was doing high volume, but no one in her team was. So this was sort of average volume for most of us, probably higher than average volume for most, to be honest. So yeah, mine wasn't a low number within her team. That was probably one of the high numbers. Okay. So around this point in May, this was the first month where we all went for a promotion to do 5,000 volume points. There was about maybe 8 to 10 of us that did it. So basically that's how it started, is we started to focus on wanting higher volume. And the reason why we wanted higher volume was this is when we sort of caught our attention for Active World Team. So that was one of the things that we needed to do for that. Okay, so at the time we had a thing that was called 5 Gets 5. So if we did 5,000 volume points in a month, that actually did our 10,000 component for the Active World Team. So that was the whole point of that promotion. Okay, so that's sort of where we started out. So you'll see that for me, that was pretty much what was happening. Yeah. So that was my first month of doing over 5,000 volume. And obviously I wanted to try and maintain that, but the goal was to get to 10. Okay. So you'll see it kind of goes up, back down a little bit, back up. And then in September was the first month that I was able to do over 10,000 volume points. Okay. Now this wasn't me doing anything special. This was me getting some clients, getting some team every month and teaching them to do the same. Okay, so that piece that we did last month, the duplication, getting new clients, getting new distributors every month and teaching them to do the same, that is exactly what I did in order to get this volume. So this volume wasn't me retailing huge, it wasn't me recruiting huge necessarily. I did both things and also taught people to do the same thing. Okay, so you'll see there in September is when I did the 10,000 volume points. Now that particular month for me, 3 people then popped out to become supervisor. Okay, so you'll see in that month it says 200 and something org volume. That's because as they qualified for supervisor, a tiny bit went over to classify as organizational volume. Okay, now the next month, you'll see that even though I had those 3 people pop out as supervisor and they are now contributing to my organizational volume, you'll see that I still have personal volume too. So that shows that while I was helping those people, I was also bringing in new team and bringing in new clients and helping those people too. Okay, because sometimes what may happen is, you know, you may have 3 people that are doing 2,000 volume or something like that month. So it does look like a lot of volume, but then when they're gone, you've kind of banked on their volume and the volume goes back down. So by actually duplicating and continuing to do that consistently every month, it left me with still people to work with who weren't yet supervisor, while my team of supervisors did their volume as well. Okay, so mostly actually that volume came from one distributor. So Tegan actually was became a supervisor that month, and she did 10,000 volume. Okay, but then there was a couple that did, like, you know, not very much, that obviously accumulated to that total. Okay, so really I could have actually had that organizational volume off one distributor. But yeah, basically that's the first month that happened for me was I did the 10,000, then the next month it went to org. Okay, so that's how it works, is it will convert itself over. But you do need to make sure that you are bringing those people on to maintain your personal volume while you're growing your organizational volume. Okay, so you'll see here that, you know, I wasn't always hitting 10,000, but I always definitely had 10,000 in mind. So a lot of the time, you know, you may have a goal of something and say, for instance, you know, I might have halfway through the month. So after I did the 10,000, when I was, say, at 5,000, I probably realized 10,000 wasn't going to happen for me this month. But I never thought, oh, okay, I'll be happy with 5. I was always like, nope, I'm going to keep going and keep trying and aim for the 10. I'm not happy with the 5. So for me, even though it wasn't actually hitting that 10,000 each time, I was doing all of the steps in the 10K plan and always aiming for that. So, you know, if I settled for the 5, then, you know, 6,200 wouldn't happen. 7,800 would not happen, you know, because I wouldn't be finding those people actively and trying my hardest to get the most volume I could each month. Okay, so I definitely always had that 10K mentality, even though it kind of fell a little bit short some of the times. Okay, so this is, yeah, the 2013 volume. So you'll see that it's kind of gradually getting there, yeah. And then 2014 is when it started to really start to work. So 2013, at the end of the year, I had invited 3 frontline team members and 6 total team members to come to the spectacular in January. Okay, so this is where it's kind of all going to change for me, because I've really used that event and promoted that event. And not only that, also promoted obviously VIP, things like that, to make sure that the people coming with me were already producing volume and not kind of expecting the event to to do the work for them, okay? So that's why you'll see such a huge jump in January, okay? So myself, my personal volume was 11,665. And you'll see organizational volume jumped up to the highest that it had ever been, okay, which is 14,500. So from that, as I said, by bringing 3 people, frontline 6 total, that is like the numbers for Get Team I was aiming for was for 4 frontline and 10 total, okay? But I fell short again, but that's fine because Get Team happened for me shortly after, okay? So the next month, 21, 27, and 38, okay? So in my 3rd month of Get Team, it's almost doubled what you actually need for a global expansion team. Sorry, I'll just check the chat. Oh yeah, Joe. Yeah, so it's huge volume really for what we are actually doing. It's really converting, and the key piece to it is it wasn't me doing driving it. Okay, it was all about duplication. Okay, and consistently bringing people in every single month. I didn't rely on one person. Like literally, a person could drop out, and because I had those safety in numbers and laws of averages, like we said, it actually wouldn't have affected my business. So yeah, as you can see, even though the org is happening, I'm still doing that high volume. Okay, so yeah, my 3rd cut of Get was did over the 10,000. Then the next month it jumped up by another 10,000, so 3848. So at this point, we're thinking, yes, this is obviously working. I already thought, Pres Team had happened for me, but yeah, it's that consistent effort. Okay. So, this is showing from October. I actually did the numbers earlier, a little bit after this. So the next slide, I'll go through that. But yeah, you'll see that it goes up 41, 53, 52. You'll actually see that I just missed out on the Get 2,500. So with the Get 2,500, it's 50,000 points 3 months in a row. So I literally missed out by 90 points. But that was fine because I'm going to do that again. Okay. And that I hadn't learned the lessons I needed to learn yet for me to have that pin. So it's all good. But you'll see, in a year, so before it's even been a year, it's gone up to 50,000 org from nothing. Okay, so that's how quickly it can happen. And just by using the system, using duplication and aiming for 10,000 each month. Okay. Alrighty. So just obviously trying to clarify that it's a big screen, screen to take in. But 2013 total personal volume points was 58,700. So about an average volume of just under 5,000 volume points per month. Okay, and 2014 I was getting a lot higher, so it's almost 90,000 points and an average of 7,500 volume points per month. So as I said, October 2013, that was the first month that I had organisational volume, so 10,796 from 3 supervisors. By October, I had almost qualified for Get 2,500. So my highest month with org was 53,647 with 20 supervisors in October, and 20 supervisors in October then turned into 35 supervisors in November. So my supervisors increased by 15 supervisors in November. So that just shows you the power of duplication, yeah, and consistently doing the work. So these are some experiences that I've been able to have by aiming for these high volumes. So these photos are from the vacation. So, I'm a single mum, and this was the first time I was able to take my daughter overseas with me. So that was a huge thing. And even though it was a couple of, years ago now, she still talks about New Caledonia and blah, 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 she always brings it up. It's a huge memory for her, and obviously a huge achievement for us as well. And just something that, I guess when you become a single parent, it's something that you know, you may think that you may need to miss out on because, you know, you wouldn't have the extra money. So we have had the time, the extra money, and been able to, have these incredible experiences. So lucky. And then also, you know, not just the vacation, but, you know, VIP seating. We got to sit on, like, you know, couches. You get to be at the front of the room. People always say you get to hear the information first, which is cool. But yeah, you just get to, like, you know, live the dream. You get that president's team experience. You get to be, you know, comfortable at the front of the room. It feels so good, you know, qualifying for everything and having that VIP experience. So some of the photos there in the middle, me and Joe, and then me, Joe, Kuda, and Tegan, they are in Macau. So that was the Active World Team School. So, you know, another thing that you need to be doing high volume for to be able to qualify for those levels, to be able to qualify for those experiences and those trainings. The top one there is the Future Millionaire Team Retreat. Oh, Julie's on there too. So Julie's on the call. So yeah, basically, you know, we go, like, you get together with all the leadership of Australia. That was from doing over 50,000 volume in your organisation in calendar month. So, you know, it was, you know, the top part of Australia that were able to go to that event on the Gold Coast at the Versace Hotel. So just, you know, unbelievable experiences that you otherwise wouldn't have in a regular job. And then bottom corner there is Joe was able to bid in Macau, actually, for this once-in-a-lifetime experience with Susan Peterson. So #1 distributor in the world. So we all qualified from a promotion to attend that. Obviously, we would be crazy not to. But it's just something that will never happen again. It's not something that would happen on a regular basis. It is an extremely once-off event. But yeah, definitely from doing high volume and having the actual team and stuff, you know, growing and incorporating all of that in it as well. Can you guys just give me 2 seconds? My computer is flashing. So I have a feeling it will turn off if I don't just quickly. Hang on 2 seconds. Baby.
Hey guys, isn't it crazy the volume difference, hey, from the average of 7,500 volume and everyone focusing on developing supervisors, you know, the change in her organization, right? Did everyone get that message? Awesome. Another tip, FYI, is smile. Smile while you're on the call. Enjoy yourselves. It's serious, but enjoy, all right? You'll learn better.
Sorry, my computer's just randomly been turning off, so I thought I better grab the charger. It has got charge, but just in case. All right, cool. So I'll keep going. Cool. So top tips for doing consistent 10,000 volume point plus. So be the best customer of your shop. We've gone through this. Obviously, the more product you use, the better your result. And then also, you know, you can tell people your experiences and your stories of, you know, what you're using and how it's affected you and what result you've got from that, okay? Focus on getting your 5, your 10, and then your 20 clients. So obviously adding to that each month and eventually heading for that 20 customers, okay? Focusing on a minimum of 2 to 4 new distributors per month. So that's really key. And I tend to find as well that it's doing the launch party for those new distributors. So for me, it will be like, you know, putting on a Wednesday night, inviting everyone around to celebrate the launch of their new business and just really promoting to them, you know, not just, you know, getting a couple of orders, but really showing them the marketing plan and letting them know that they can take advantage of, you know, putting either a 500 volume point order in, but potentially I'll always let them know of the 1,000 points so that they can use that to, you know, increase their discount and get more value for the same money as well, which is huge. Because then if you've got, you know, say, you know, your 2 to 4 new people this month doing 1,000 and then you had your 2 to 4 new people last month doing 1,000, you can see how that would easily add up or start to add up towards that volume, okay? And focus on having a clear retail recruiting and retention plan. So having an extremely good product follow-up system. So Bayer Boss Chairman Club member said your only job as a sponsor is to help that person get the best product result possible, as their story is worth a fortune. It's their job to get clients in a team, but it's your job to help them get a product result. Okay. And, you know, as we've discussed before, I know we said this last week as well, but if you really look after that client or that team member, and they're excited, they're having way more energy, they're looking good, they're glowing, then they're going to attract way more people to become clients and team members, and it's going to make your job so much easier. So if there's ever, you know, an issue with no one being able to get a client or a team member, it's always go back to, you know, good product follow-up with them first, and making sure that they're using the product properly and they're actually on their journey. So no one needs to be perfect, but if they have 15 kilos to lose and they still have 15 kilos to lose next month, then that means that they're not actually getting a result right now. Okay, so they don't need to be exactly where they want to be, but definitely on their journey. Okay, so that's usually the best place to start, is to make sure, you know, they are using the products correctly. Also, setting up the month by the 5th of the month. So, you know, as we sent out the homework last week, is it's really making sure that you are set on your product result, your personal VP goal, and if you already have a team, your organizational volume point targets. It's really handy as well if you can draw out or map out your organization, so that you know, like sometimes when you draw it out, you go, oh, I need to speak to this person, that person. It's like we said earlier, with it actually being visible in front of your face, it kind of reminds you. So like sometimes I'll be writing out, like mapping out my month or whatever, or mapping out my team, and then I'll write notes in my diary, like speak to this person about that, speak to this person about that, or this person is close to 500 volume, things like that. It sparks the conversation that you need to have that person with that person when you write their name down. And I also find it's so strange, but you know, like sometimes I'll write in my diary to speak to this person about that, and sometimes they're like, I was thinking about you. So like if I hadn't reached out, then maybe that thought might have passed in their head, but we've been able to have that conversation. Okay. So yeah, having clear plans for each level in the marketing plan. So for an example of that is the accumulation plan, which is key, and we're definitely going to go through that. And using and going for all promotions, but mostly if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So these are actually Joanna's, but I do the same thing as Joanna. I just copy her exactly, pretty much whatever she does, I do. Okay. So this is my retention plan. So it's got 3 support systems. So the retention plan is what you're willing to rock up to. Okay. So there's a few different systems through this, because obviously usually people will fall in these categories. Okay, so you've got your client support system. So how can I support my clients? So follow-up, newsletters, client appropriate events, so such as the HAIL, the Healthy Active Lifestyle event, or a shake party, healthy happy hour, you know, skin party, tastings. They could be invited along into an information session or online webinar. And also Facebook. So most of us on here will have, you know, a client support page. And if you don't, obviously start that up. And also we also do some work now on WhatsApp as well for our client support system. Our distributor support system, how can I support them? So, you know, business launch, STS, events, training, Facebook, one-on-one system and coaching. And same thing with partner support systems. So these are also distributors, obviously, but they are, you know, usually on your same path. So they kind of know how to retail and recruit, but it's just basically supporting them. So how you can support your supervisors. So it's usually all of the above, but then including them in things like the supervisor trainings, and just making sure that they're coming along to the national and the international events. Okay. So also in these plans, it's really important that you try and incorporate a way of exposing, evolving, and upgrading as well. So this is just some of Joe's numbers. So this